think we can probably all agree that it's a good idea to improve and reform health care, healthier Americans, make a stronger nation. Insurance companies shouldn't drop people when they get sick. We need to help people with pre-existing conditions. I think insurance should be affordable and portable. Take it with you if you change jobs or move. Republicans have proposed several health care reform bills. I hope you've seen a number of them. I, as a Republican, worked very hard to reform health care in my own state. Not every feature of our plan was perfect, but it does teach this important lesson. You can get everyone insured without breaking the bank and without a government option. There is no government option in my Massachusetts reform. The right answer for health care is not more government, it is less government. Now, you heard the president the other night. He said he wants a public option government insurance program to give people greater choice. What he doesn't say is that there are already more than 1,000 insurance companies in this country. He says he wants a public option so that he won't have the burden of corporate profits. But what he doesn't tell you is that there are plenty of major insurance companies, some of the very largest in this country, that are not for profit. He says he'd be satisfied with co-ops. But what he doesn't tell you is that there are already co-ops. And there's no legislation needed to create more of them. What he won't say is what he really wants. A public option that over time becomes the only option. And if he gets what he wants, we know exactly where it would inevitably lead. To a massive entitlement with enormous liability, to more borrowing, and to denial of care and rationing, just as they experience in Europe, and to the creation of dozens of government bureaucracies that reach into every hospital, every doctor's office, and every home. Thanks to millions of Americans who stepped up in town halls and tea parties across this country, he is not going to get his way. The Democrats call those folks a mob, crazies, trash, even worse. I call them patriots. Thanks for their voice. I, for one, was not unhappy that the president chose to address our school children. The Heritage Foundation, in a January letter to the president, reminded him that as president, he's in a unique position to help our children keep from making a critical and life-altering mistake. And that is having children before they're married. 40% of all American kids born today are born out of wedlock. Of course, there are a number of wonderful single parents who do a terrific job, heroic job in raising their kids under difficult circumstances. But for the nation as a whole, we raise a stronger generation when a child is raised by a mother and a father. A strong America also depends on a strong defense. Our rivals in the world are pursuing designs and purposes very different than ours. We should never cut corners in funding and equipping the military and intelligence services that defend our country. More than 150,000 of our fellow citizens in uniform are still deployed in theaters of war. Nothing on the agenda of the President or Congress should come before the needs of our troops and the absolute necessity of their victory. In the face of Iran's rush to become a nuclear power, the President's decision this week to walk away from our commitment to missile defense in Europe is alarming and dangerous. His friends say that Iran isn't as close to becoming a nuclear threat as they once thought it was. How can they possibly know that? They say that this is a token of goodwill to get Russia to be more supportive of sanctions against Iran. But you know the first rule of negotiation. It's this. Only give something up when you get something in return. From Israel to Honduras to the Czech Republic to Poland, it's time the president treated our friends better than he treats our foes. You know, we need to encourage the pro-defense members of Congress, Democrats and Republicans alike, to hold firm and to make the case for a military that is second to none. Those pro-defense congressmen and senators might feel a little outnumbered right now, but they shouldn't lose hope, because we're going to send them some reinforcements in next year's election. You know, We've now gone 8 years and 8 days without being hit again at home by a terror attack. Over on the left, they want very hard for us to believe that this fact has nothing to do whatsoever with the intensive interrogation of terrorists. You could listen all day long to their rants and never hear that obvious connection. And the administration plays right along. They're now talking about actually prosecuting the very intelligence officers who protected us by asking questions and getting answers. Those intelligence officers don't deserve to be hounded and lectured by the left. They deserve the respect of Americans, starting with the commander-in-chief. We're indeed at a critical time in our nation's history. We can't lose faith in the values and virtues that made the American way of life possible. We can't allow big government activists to exploit the financial crisis that they themselves unknowingly helped enable to substitute their ideology for the wisdom and good sense of the American people. There's something else that should concern us. When the federal government expands at the kind of rate it's expanding, when government is trying to take over health care, buy car companies, bail out banks, and giving half the White House staff the title of czar, we have every good reason to be alarmed and to speak our mind. The current economic crisis was, of course, the result of many failures. Important guardrails were allowed to collapse, leaving a lot of Americans unprotected from the descent of the financial and job markets. The last thing we need right now is a collapse of even more guardrails that would leave us unprotected from the overreach of government. Now let me make a prediction. For our cause, and for all of those who speak for this cause without apology, we're about to see a comeback. Voters in New Jersey have just about had it with the high taxers in their state. And just across the river, the signs are good that we're about to see a low-tax, pro-growth, pro-life governor of Virginia. Of course, nothing is certain in politics, but we can be certain about this. Our belief in the greatness of America and our dedication to keeping this nation strong are needed today as much as they have ever been needed in our glorious past. I don't deny that America's challenges are great, or that overcoming them is going to require the best that we have to give. But I know that in times of difficulty, we always bring out the essential character of our fellow citizens. When I was a kid, my dad used to say to me that the pursuit of the difficult makes people strong. Well, the pursuit of the difficult will make America stronger. We welcome the challenge. It'll call on us once again to draw on the incredible resilience, ingenuity, and faith of the free men and women in the United States. We don't get to choose the tests and the trials that are ahead, but we are entirely free, you and I, to choose how we're going to meet those tests. And we'll meet them as conservatives have done before. We'll find strength in each other, and we'll answer our opponents with goodwill and honest words. And we will go forward, committed to our ideals, confident of victories to come, and certain that God does indeed bless America. Thank you so much. Thank you.